Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and today we are watching Kex422 and we are going to try to learn from him how to deal with 1 versus 4 and 1 versus 3 situations. Now for this first game he's playing in the E75 on Dynasty Pearl, and he's in platoon with Fabio that is playing the T54 E1, so shout out to Fabio as well. So he's going to try and play this game on the right hand side, which in my opinion is the best side to try and contest, definitely because there are 2 minions on his tank, on his team, and 2 minions on the enemy team, and I really think compared with the city, the right hand side of the map gives you a great advantage because you can work with the gun depression you have, you can get into cover, and in the city it's way more difficult to get into cover, and it's more a situation of trading shells instead of being smart, trying to get behind bushes, trying to get into the right positions, and that you have more on the right hand side of this map. Now immediately he spots an Annihilator. Now that's quite a rare tank to face when you're in E75, as the Annihilator is of course a tier 7 tank. Now Kex isn't very scared of the guy, as he should be, because let's be honest, the Annihilator has pretty much no chance of going to the front armor of Kex, so he's just going to push forwards. And now it seems like 4 of the enemy tanks, if not 5, are actually contesting the right side. So Kex and his platoon mate, as well as the other medium tanks, have to play a 3 versus 4 situation for the moment, but maybe the 5th tank is going to get spotted soon, so they need to be very careful indeed. So in these kind of situations, you are best to try and focus down one target to get the kills. Now the Annihilator is going forward, which is a bit of a reckless play, as he is tier 7, and there is the 5th tank. It was the Tortoise, and so the medium tank on their team gets shut down pretty easily, and now it's looking like an absolute disaster on the right hand side of this map, as they are playing a 1 versus 5 situation right here. But now he's going to be able to shut the Tortoise, but unfortunately the Annihilator puts 3 shells into him. That's just an absolute disaster as well. And here Kex has no choice to leave Fabio alone to die, because if he stays he's going to get shut down as well, and there is no point in losing 2 tanks. So unfortunately Fabio dies, but he tried his best. I mean, it was a right play in my opinion, to go right. The WC is flaming them, saying, you go right, that's a bad play, but honestly it was definitely the correct play in my opinion. So if I can give you a tip, when you see players and you know they are from a good clan and you know they're actually going to one side of the map, both definitely when they are in platoon, just follow them. I mean, most likely they are going to be better players than you, so they are going to read the map and the enemy team well, hopefully better than you, so you can just follow their lead and try and support them. That's a main tip I would give you, instead of just going to the other side, because obviously they've, well, most likely played more games than you, and so they know the map way better than you do. So now Kex is going forward. Now I think that was a bit of a reckless play. He could have tried and side scrape, but then again the AMX was shooting probably some APCR rounds, as he rolled for 309. So Kex is going to try and get an HE shell into the AMX, but unfortunately the shell doesn't reload just in time, so Kex couldn't actually finish the guy off. But here is the T54 lightweight. He needs to try and focus down the tanks as fast as he can, as they are 2 versus 4 right now, and some of the tanks on the enemy team are still pretty healthy. That is exactly what Kex is going to do. He's going to try and shut down the lightweight right now, I think. So he's going to switch to HE, which in my opinion is a correct play, but unfortunately he just hits the track and he leaves the T54 on, what is it, 5 HP. That's just very, very unlucky indeed. And right now he is in a 1 versus 4 situation against 2 tier 8 tanks that are well, that have taken some shots and are 1 shot right now. A full HP Indian Panzer and a Tortoise, I'm sorry, that is a 1 shot as well. So now he needs to try and think, what target do I want to shut down first? And here he's trying to go for the lightweight. Now you might say, well, obviously the Tortoise is a more dangerous tank, yes, but then again the lightweight could have just got behind him, as the AMX is doing right now, and if you get sandwiched in the tank, that's just very bad. Now here that's a very weird shot, because I honestly thought his shell would just ricochet off the gun, but it seems like it got through the gun or something. I don't exactly know what happened here, but I think Kex is not complaining as he shuts down the Tortoise. And now he just quickly changes the 1 versus 4 situation into a 1 versus 1, and clearly this Indian Panzer is not the best player in this game. I don't know what he's doing, but never ever face an E75 frontally in the Indian Panzer. That's just not gonna work out. By the way, neither in any other tanks that aren't tier 9 or tier 10. So Kex is going to try and load an HE shell, but unfortunately he just couldn't manage to reload his shell in time, but he's just going to go forward, switch to the HE again and put a nice shot into the Indian Panzer. And right now, as the Totos is saying, I have no idea what the Indian Panzer is trying to do. I mean, it was definitely a very difficult time for him to get back into the game for this Indian Panzer. But he could have tried to get the side of Kex, he could have tried to just, I don't know, get away, but not from this side, because he just got shot freely multiple times into his butt. And so Kex can just shut him down right now. He just needs to connect the shell, and there you go. Dealt with a 1 versus 4, and it seemed incredibly easy, although it's is very difficult, because you need to remain calm, you need to think everything through. Who am I going to shoot first, etc, etc. So you get a Steel Wall, a High Caliber, Radley Walters, a Colobanos Feather, the Top Gun, and an Ace Tanker. You just got pretty much every medal you want and can get in this game. So this Ace Tanker was for 5.5k damage and 1.5k experience. He only missed 2 shells this game, and yeah, there you go. That's just the first Colobanos medal game and a first very difficult situation dealt with. Although, of course, the Indian Panzer wasn't the best player in this game. But that's not it for today, because we are going to jump into the very next gameplay. And so Kex is playing once more a Tier 9 tank, but it is the M103 this time, and he's playing with Fabio on Oasis Palms, and he is bottom tier for this game. Now on Oasis Palms, I think there is one side that really dominates the other one, and that is the left hand side on this map if you spawn where well, Kex spawns right now. So why is it the left hand side of the map, I'm sorry, is so much better? Well, that is because you have all of these hills, and you can use your gun impression to take advantage of the hills, and that is something you cannot do in the city. And I think we all agree that shooting turrets in World of Tanks is way more difficult than shooting hulls and turrets at the same time in World of Tanks. So if you are playing on the left hand side, you just have to cover yourself from the enemy fire, and you can actually shoot them as well while only exposing your turret. But if you're in the city, you need to expose the entirety of your tank, and well, that is just worse, of course, because you allow the enemies to shoot you in the hull or in your turret. Now the enemy team decided to play on the city side, so if you listen to what I just said, you would have said, well, then it's an easy win. Well, in most situations it actually is going to be an easy win, but it will turn out this game that Kex is going to have to, well, carry his team once more to victory. This is exactly what I mean. Kex is just able to use his gun depression, and look at the AMX 5120. If he wants to get the shots out, he needs to get exposed, and you just get all of these easy shells into the side of the enemy tanks, and that is exactly what I mean. Now I don't know why his team is still trying to push on, as clearly the enemy team have pushed far enough for them to try and shoot. So I think the medium tanks just missed on well, various shots they could have easily penned into the side of the enemy team. Now Kex shoots an unfortunate shot that only hits the tracks of the T-62A, and right now it's just a stalemate. No one is spotted, no one is wanting to go forwards and die. So for the moment, the only thing Kex can do is just relax, because he's not a medium tank, he doesn't have amazing view range, and if he tries to go forward, he's going to expose his hull, so to all intents and purposes, he's going to get shot and penetrated. So at this stage of the game, you just have to relax and stay back and enjoy the shots you can get into the side of the tanks that are crossing into the city. Right now, both of the T-62As on the enemy team are trying to push forward, so they need to try and kill him as fast as they can, because the T-62A has a great DPM and is a very dangerous tank. Now unfortunately, Kex shot went a little bit low, so it hit the ground. Now this is a very difficult shot that unfortunately is going to hit a ridgeline as well, although this one would have been a pretty lucky shot if it managed to hit the enemy team. Tank, I should say. So right here he just gets an easy shot into the AMX 5120 and shuts him down. So now he has to try and focus other targets, and so you can clearly see, I mean, this is exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of this game. You cannot play in the city without getting shot in the side if the enemy team, so the Kex team, plays correctly, and he's just like, this is a perfect position. Now unfortunately I actually would have said to do the same, to try and track the object 7 and 4, but the shell doesn't damage him, which is well, pretty weird in my opinion. So right now Kex is going to auto aim and try and shoot a bad shot, but the shot just probably didn't give enough lead because it was auto aimed, and that's how he missed the bad shot, which is a very unfortunate thing, because the bad shot is a dangerous tank that needs to be taken care of. But Fabio clutched the shot, so well played to you, Fabio, and he shuts down the bad shot on the enemy team. The T62A is a little bit too sneaky, trying to get some shots in, and so Kex has a beautiful shot into the side, and hopefully he will be able to shoot one more into the side of the other T62A, and perfect, that one penned as well, and his team manages to shut down one of the two T62As. So if he can now shut down the other one, that would be absolutely amazing. And that is also what happened. So now it's a 3 versus 3 situation, although the enemy team has a full HP IS-4 remaining, which is a very dangerous tank. Right now Kex sees that the T-54 on his team is actually trying to push forward and asks for help, and that is why he's now going to go forward as well, pushing the affirmative button. Just very nice synergy. I love this in World of Tanks, when you can just communicate with your team and try and set up a plan. Now this is a little bit of a weird play. I don't know if Kex really thought the OBX-74 would bounce him all day long, because he just stops there and tries to shoot HE, although only the gun of the OBX-74 was exposed, so to all intents and purposes HE would just have been catched into the gun or the gun mantlet and do 0 damage. And even if he was trying to shoot AP or APCR or the heat shells the M103 have, it would have bounced as well. So I think that was a little bit of a weird play, but I mean, it's a first kind of misplay that actually turned out to not really be a misplay, as he didn't even get damaged this game. Now he gets a perfect shot into the IS-4, because he needs to try and focus down the IS-4 as soon as he can, but also he needs to try and kill the enemy tank. So if he can get one shot into the Kampfpanzer 70, but unfortunately the shell just goes into the ridge line, which is very unlucky because it was aimed perfectly. Fortunately, that means, well, because he was shooting the Kampfpanzer 70, the IS-4 cut the side of his turret, and once more just an unlucky shot. RNG just showing this ugly side to Kex, and he didn't manage to pen the OBX-704 as well. So now he just needs to try and shoot the target, focus one down, but he's just getting unlucky again and again and again, because these shells could have just as well penned the enemy team, and that would have helped him so much. So the IS-7 bounces a shell into the great health the M103 has. So if you want to shut down one of these tanks, you just need to shoot the lower plate or the weak point you see on top of the tank, but I would recommend trying to shoot at the lower plate, as this is easier to get. And he just gets bounces left, right and center right now. That's just amazing. He compensated a little bit of the bad RNG he had before. Now I don't know if shooting the Kampfpanzer 70 was a right play, as clearly he was reloading, and the OBX-704 well, was actually going to reload faster than the Kampfpanzer 70, but it doesn't matter, as the OBX-704 bounced him as well. And just like that, Kex once more turned a 1 versus 3 situation, this time into a 1 versus 1. But the game isn't finished yet, as he still have to deal with the IS-4, that is one of the best armored tank in the game. And now he's just trying to face up the IS-4, which is a very nice play, because the IS-4 is trying to hit his weak point on top of the tank, but he is unable to do so, and he can't depress the gun enough to try and shoot his hull. And so Kex is just in the best situation you can get yourself into the M103 to fight an IS-4 right now. He finds one last shell into the top of the IS-4, shutting the guy down, and finishing this game once more with a Kolobanov's medal. So of course that was an ace tanker as well as a Kolobanov's medal, a steel wall, and a top gun for the M103 on Oasis Palms. I just want to say that this was the very next game Kex played after the game we saw in the E75. So of course he stopped on his team, that's no surprise right here. Now he did miss a little bit of shells, but it doesn't matter, as he won anyway. And he got pretty unlucky with some of his shells, unfortunately, when he fired them, and the shell just went into the ridge line. So these were two amazing games played by Kex, and it exactly showed you what you have to do if you find yourself into a 1 versus 4 or 1 versus 3 situation. You need to try and shut down the targets that are low HP first, because the more guns there are than the enemy team, the more, well, the more shells you're going to get shot with, and the higher the chance is that you are going to get damaged and get shut down. Now when you're playing a heavy tank, you should also have the knowledge of knowing, well, what tank on the enemy team can pen me and what tank can't, and what part of my hull or what part of my turret can I expose to what tank to make them bounce. And I think Kex showed exactly what you had to do. I mean, he faced up the IS-4 knowing that the IS-4 wouldn't be able to pen him. With T75 he tried to wiggle, tried to avoid some of the tanks on the enemy team that have the more penetration to shoot his lower plate, and he just literally played this game perfectly. I mean, that's why he won, right? So I just want to congratulate Kex and giving the his teammate a bit of a shout out once more. So well played, Fabio, as well, for shutting down the T62A, for instance, in the second game. That definitely helped Kex out win this one. And so if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, because it really helps the channel out. And for the rest, I wish you all a very good day, and I will see you in the next one.